Airsoft is probably one of the coolest hobbies you could get into, especially if you commit to playing for the long run. And every year, we see a new influx of brand new people trying Airsoft out for the first time, and it's really good to see. But also at the same time, we have noticed that there are some more experienced, more seasoned players starting to walk away or step away from the hobby altogether for one reason or another. And for us, that's kind of concerning. Hey, friendly guy, switch.
Many of us at Airsoft GI have been playing for many years. In fact, a lot of us actually plan on playing for the remainder of our lives, God willing. So we've developed a ton of tips and tricks to help you guys keep playing for much longer. Probably the most straightforward way to change the way you play is to change your Airsoft platform. Now, I'm willing to take a wager here. The vast majority of you watching this video right now probably own an M4 AEG. I'm willing to take it a step further beyond that though. I'm willing to bet that right now if you're starting to feel that Airsoft is becoming a little bit more stale, you only run an M4 AEG. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. The M4 AEG is going to be the easiest, most convenient platform to get into, the most amount of aftermarket support that exists out there. However, solely using that over and over again can become very tiresome, which is why we recommend changing out the platform from something like an M4 AEG to maybe something like an AK instead. For those of you who only run M4s, you guys are probably having a visceral reaction right now because you guys are allergic to anything that's not an M4, like an AK, but hear me out. There are many platforms that exist out in the Airsoft scene that are not M4s that are still supported, and you can still find a wealth of parts and knowledge out there on how to customize and upgrade the performance. They're not limited by any means in terms of what you can do with them, and again, they just happen to not be M4s. Running a different platform is going to feel different. It's an entirely new experience. Everything from changing the selector, pulling the trigger, holding the stock, even changing the magazine, even just shooting the Airsoft gun itself is going to feel very different, and that's part of the fun. Right? However, once you've mastered that, the next step would be to invest in your loadout. That way you have multiple options for each day. Maybe one day you want it to go with your M4 loadout, the next day you want it to go with your different platform loadout, whatever it might be. That's adding more fun to the experience.
I'm just here playing the devil's advocate for Isaias because, you know, Isaias likes to advocate for using weirder guns in Airsoft. Nothing wrong with that, and I agree with him, but again, I'm just here playing the opposition. So what if you didn't want to go with a completely new platform, get like new batteries to fit the new gun, and you know, getting new magazines and magazine pouches? It can all be very expensive. It might be too much of a commitment. Well, the simpler way to change the platform in the way you play is that you could still stick with the overall M4 platform, but you don't have to necessarily run a standard M4 like this. You could change up and get something like a PDW style M4 instead. This will more or so less change your class on the Airsoft field. So instead of playing like a standard rifleman or even like a longer range SPR guy, you could even go with something like a smaller M4 like this, a bit more CQB oriented, a little bit more close range oriented. You're more like a submachine gun kind of loadout player on the Airsoft field. You'll still have the same controls, same manual alarms. The gun will just feel smaller, but I will guarantee you it will feel different. It will feel more fun. But even if you were okay with changing magazines, you could even go with something like a 9mm M4 style gun, like the PXG9 here. It still very much looks and feels like a standard M4, but you're taking a different magazine, which is the skinny X9 pistol caliber magazine. This is a really good way for you to still use all the manual alarms that you've developed over the years running an Airsoft M4 and carrying it over to a completely different class.
I will actually agree with Boaz. Being able to just change your class overall and the way you play is definitely one way about going about it. However, I still think that it is going to be much cooler to go ahead and not only change your class, but your entire gun platform as a whole.
I don't even know why I try with you anymore, man.
Hey, AKs are cool, alright? Let me have this.
Okay, alright, whatever.
Oh, looky here. Surprise, surprise. Boaz brings another M4 to the video. We're supposed to find ways of changing things up, Boaz.
It is an M4, but you miss the most important part. Gas blowback M4. So you can obviously change the platform to spice up your Airsoft game. However, you don't always have to do that. You can also just change your overall system, like this gas blowback M4 that you see here. This is definitely going to freshen up and breathe new life into your airsoft game. Now, it doesn't always necessarily have to be gas blowback, because at the end of the day, if you're just running a bog standard M4 AEG, it gets boring because there's just not a lot of feedback. There's not a lot of user experience in mind, aside just from the raw performance. And changing your system, whether you go from an AEG to like an electric recoil system like the KWA Q10, KWA T10, or even like the Tokyo Marine Next Generation Recoil Shock, those kind of electric recoil guns, or going balls to the wall and getting and committing to a gas blowback platform is definitely a sure way to make things more fun and more realistic for you on the airsoft field. Specifically talking about the gas blowback platform, whether you're running a gas blowback submachine gun, gas blowback pistol as a primary, or a full-fledged gas blowback rifle, it is gonna definitely change the way you play. Number one is gonna be, you're gonna get a lot of feedback. It's gonna feel a bit more realistic. Most gas blowback magazines don't hold more than 50 rounds of BBs in the magazine. And so with that limitation, you're going to conserve your ammo. You're not going to spray down ammo on the airsoft field. You're probably going to pick and choose your targets more wisely. You're going to think about things a lot more every time you pull that trigger. And not only that, but every time you do, it's going to feel rewarding. You're going to feel like you're doing something a little extra, something a little bit more on the airsoft field because you get that more realistic kick out of your gun. Some of the immediate perks of running a gas blowback airsoft gun, like a gas blowback rifle, is that you don't have to worry about batteries. Traditionally with AEGs, you always have to wonder or worry about, oh, did I bring enough batteries to the airsoft field? Did I make sure to charge the batteries beforehand? You know, or sometimes worst case scenario on the field, oh shoot, my battery is dying. And these are all things that a lot of players are used to worrying about, but with a gas blowback rifle or a gas blowback airsoft gun in general, you don't have to worry about that. In fact, all you need is either green gas or CO2, depending on what your gun is running. You just load up the magazines with gas, fill them up with BBs, and you're good to play as long as you have gas on the airsoft field. Finally, we're going to be talking about the performance side of gas blowback airsoft guns. Now, I can already hear in the comments down below, people are typing away angrily saying how unreliable they are and like how they have performance issues, this, that, and the other. I'm just going to be the first to tell you that it is very possible and very realistic for you to get your gas blowback airsoft gun to outshoot and outrange most AEGs. There are tons of communities out there that live and die by the gas blowback platform, and they have a wealth of knowledge on how to work on them, how to upgrade them, and how to modify them to outperform most AEGs. In fact, because you have to be more mindful about your ammo consumption and the status of your gas magazine, you're going to notice that when you do take the shots, they're going to go a lot farther, and the people are going to be calling their hits way farther than you used to with the traditional M4 AEG. So you know at airsoftgi.com, any purchase of $179.99 or more automatically qualifies you for free shipping. So with that being said, let's say you purchase like an airsoft gun that costs around that price point, you will automatically get free shipping. And if you create an account with us at airsoftgi.com, we will give you free reward store credit back to save on future orders, or you might even just use it to get some free stuff. So this is part of our Wombo Combo program. No, this is not a coupon code. No, you don't need to do anything special to get it. If you spend $179.99 or more at airsoftgi.com, you'll automatically get free shipping. And if you have an account with us at airsoftgi.com, we'll give you some of the money that you spent on your order back as store credit to save on future orders. That is the power of the Wombo Combo, and it's probably one of the best savings you can get in Airsoft.
Sometimes the easiest solutions are the ones staring you right in the face. A change of environment can be an easy way to add a little bit more spice to your airsoft experience. Think about it this way, you're playing COD and your only maps are either going to be Shipment or Nuketown. Yeah, it sounds fun, it sounds like a blast, and it might be for the initial couple of hours, but after some time it's going to get boring real quick. So the same thing is going to apply to Airsoft. If you're seeing the same environments over and over again, yeah, it's going to be pretty monotonous. Going to your regular home field can definitely be fun. You know all the best hiding spots, you know the best routes, and it can definitely give you a home field advantage for sure on the enemy team, but at the end of the day, it is going to be quite boring if that's the only field you've ever played at. So just a change of scenery, going to a different airsoft field is going to be a very easy way to keep things a little bit more interesting and keep you on your feet, as you don't know what's going to be around that next corner. Just an easy solution to add a little bit more spice and excitement to your airsofting experience. Changing up the airsoft field in which you play at is probably got to be the most cost-effective means of changing up the way you play airsoft, as again, you don't really need to invest in an entirely new platform. You can very much bring your same platform to every single field that you want to experiment with. Boaz actually is quite known for doing that. He will bring long carbines such as this to an indoor field, and he'll do it quite well actually. Maybe at that point, that'll be the turning point, that'll be the convincing spot where you might want to consider getting into a new platform so you can do even better at that particular field. Just food for thought.
Devil's advocate again, like what Isaiah said, you can take your existing airsoft gun and bring it into a different environment. Like what Isaiah said, an example, you could take a longer range M4 that, is mainly for outdoor gameplay. You could put a weaker spring in it and bring it into like an indoor CQP field where you have to negotiate through the challenges of running a longer gun in tighter spaces. Sometimes you might get absolutely dunked on in the airsoft field, and that's totally fine, because this gun isn't really meant to be used indoors. So at the end of the day, it might even tip you over to changing your airsoft class and getting something smaller, more purpose-built for CQB gameplay. And that was what a lot of longtime airsoft players do. They will have a very specific purpose-built outdoor setup, and they will rotate to playing at indoor fields, to spice up their gameplay, and they'll have a dedicated indoor setup as well, so that way they can experience best of both worlds. The final way to change up how you play airsoft is by attending larger airsoft events. And I get it, it is a lot of fun to show up at your local airsoft field on a weekend and you play 20v20, 30v30. In fact, that's pretty much what me and the rest of the Airsoft GI crew do on weekends when we get to play airsoft. That's the majority of what we do. But what if you could play 100 versus 100, 200 versus 200 in a large, wide open airsoft arena? That'll open up a huge new dimension of airsoft that you probably have not experienced. And let me tell you, just being able to move around on that big of a map, being able to freely flank or sneak up on or ambush your airsoft opponents, and just witnessing, just watching just hundreds of airsofters dump millions of BBs into each other in these giant open set piece airsoft battles, it's quite an experience that we highly recommend everyone do. Most of these larger scale airsoft events go on for a very long period of time. We're talking multiple hours of non-stop games. And because of that, that is definitely going to affect the way that you play airsoft. You might want to end up just conserving your energy, pacing yourself to make sure that you last throughout the entire event, because full sprint bum rushing it to your enemy team, it's not sustainable for all day gameplay, and also you might have to consider bringing water with you onto the field to make sure you stay hydrated, maybe carrying more magazines, more ammo, more BBs, carrying more speed loaders, making sure that maybe you'll carry like a little bit of a pick-me-up snack so that way your blood sugar doesn't run too low, and of course carrying extra batteries. All these things that have to come into consideration when you start gearing up for these larger scale events, and definitely because of that, you will definitely notice that you play a lot differently at these larger events than you do at your local weekend game.
Adding on to what Boaz has previously stated, a lot of these large-scale airsoft events try to give you an experience that you might not have otherwise been able to have, right? Everything from incorporating vehicles, night vision. A lot of these events and organizers will actually encourage some element of live-action role-playing, LARPing, or cosplaying to help immerse you into this fake war, right? That makes you feel a part of it. Again, all the equipment that they incorporate in there as well just adds on top of that, giving you a very immersive experience that your regular casual player would otherwise never experience for themselves. Adding further on top of that, a lot of the larger scale airsoft events can actually span across multiple days, adding a new camping element to the gameplay itself. So now you have to consider what supplies you are bringing and actually resource management, in addition to being able to share them with your teammates. Again, adding another level, another dimension to your airsofting experience. One thing that not too many people talk about in regards to these larger scale airsoft events is that when you go and play, you are playing with other people that love the hobby as much as you do, right? Speaking from personal experience, Boaz and I have both been able to not only meet, but create long-lasting friendships with many people just through Airsoft alone, and have been able to create our own community based around Airsoft as well. At the end of the day, going to these large-scale Airsoft events is going to really open up your eyes and make you realize that we're all just a bunch of Airsoft enthusiasts. We all really, really do enjoy and love this hobby, and we want to hang out and play with other like-minded individuals and create friendships that will expand beyond just Airsoft.
Thank you guys so much for stopping by and checking out our overview on how to spice up your Airsoft gameplay.
We went over a couple different tips and tricks to help add a little bit more spice to your airsofting experience. Boaz and I are speaking from experience. We just really love Airsoft itself, and we're going to continue playing Airsoft until we are physically unable to.
Yeah, just keep in mind, guys, that Airsoft is not a one-dimensional hobby. There's many aspects or facets to the hobby that you can pull enjoyment out of. Make sure that if you're feeling more fatigued or tired of playing Airsoft one way, mix things up, change things up to make sure that the hobby will always stay fresh and exciting for you.
Guys, make sure to go ahead and leave a like on this video. Make sure to go ahead and hit the bell icon so you're notified every time we drop new content on the channel as well.
And if you want to directly support Airsoft GI and help keep the lights on, help keep that camera rolling, make sure to stop by Airsoft GI for all your Airsoft needs. My name is Boaz.
And Isaias.
We'll see you next time, Yo Gang.